What is going on, everyone? And this is Josh with 625 Media, and it's Vlog Sunday. That's right. We're going to talk lessons, and we're also going to talk about the month of October because it's starting to wind down, and, well, I don't know. Has it been a good month for us? I'm not sure. It's from the attic. And welcome to this wonderful Sunday before Halloween. It's almost Halloween. So I was in the store on Saturday, and we were shopping around for a birthday gift for a neighbor, a friend. I guess they're friends. We're friendly with these people. I don't know them very well though. But anyway, besides the point, we were shopping around at Walmart, and we're walking down the aisles. And they already have basically their Christmas wonderland and all of their ornaments and everything all set up. And all I could think was, we haven't even gotten to Halloween yet. Why is the Christmas stuff out? I shouldn't be surprised. I do every year. I go into a store and I see all the Christmas decorations and I go, it's not even Thanksgiving. It's not even, why am I surprised anymore? I mean, for some reason, we're all crazy for Christmas, and I mean, I get it, but there's other holidays, other things we like to celebrate. I don't know, I'm just partial to Thanksgiving because, it's my time of year. It's my time. Me time. All right, so anyway, some big news for you coming up here in a little bit because, yeah. That's all I'm going to say. I'm in that kind of mood today, guys, so I apologize in advance, but we're going to talk lessons. I want to go over, before we hit the end of the month, I want to go over how I'm feeling about the month of October because we kind of took a very lazy approach to the month of October, and that was on purpose. I mean, we talked about this heading out of September. We've even talked about it a little bit last week. We talked about it when I set the goals for the month of October. So I'm going to be, over the next week and a half, really thinking about, was it a good idea? And I'm already starting to form opinions about how our efforts have gone, and really, was it the best thing for us to do overall? Because some things have definitely excelled because we kind of had everything else take a back seat, and we'll talk about that at length today. Then a little bit on content because I kind of owe you guys an apology. I really do. Yeah. But first, let's get to the lessons so far this month. The first lesson is coffee. I like it. All right, so anyway, lessons from last week. Ideas can come from various sources. So I started thinking about the Halloween season, and I was thinking about, I need to start reading some more works, and the best way to get those is probably from the public domain. I ran across a digitized version of Grimm's fairy tales. Yes. So I've never actually sat down and read Grimm's fairy tales, but I understand what you mean by Grimm's fairy tales, and I understand their relevance to what we consider the fairy tales or the stories and how different they are. I do know. But I got to reading some of these, and it sparked some ideas that even though Halloween's a week away or less than a week away, I think it's an idea that can carry on and help me continue to practice some storytelling and some narration. And we're going to talk about that here in a little bit, but just my urge to want to, read some excerpts from some literary classics, really to try to help build some material for promotional reasons and to build a demo. I ran across this and I said, you know what? Let's use this. So more on that. Motivation is hard to find if you are constantly seeking it. So last week we talked about burnout, and really what burnout, the result of that is a lack of motivation or a lack of drive to do the things that you want to do, or to do the things that you need to do. And last week I was really starting to feel that, which is why it came up. And all this week I was going, I need to get motivated. I really need to find that drive again. I need to find the energy, because this is important. I don't want to try, excuse me, try to, do something I really want to do and then just be like, well, I'm just not motivated this week, so I'm done. And that's absolutely not okay with me. So I spent the week just going, how do I get motivated? How do I get motivated? And when I wasn't looking for it, which was, I got off work on Friday, and I went and saw one of my old managers at the old building I worked at, and I sat down, was discussing some things with them. We were, just getting updated on, what's going on in each other's work life, basically. And, I saw a few people that I used to work with, and I saw the situation there, and I don't want to talk badly, because I enjoyed a lot of time in my old position, and I enjoyed a lot of opportunities and a lot of the people that I worked with. I wouldn't have traded it for the world, but it put in perspective, the how to get motivated again, and it's really reaching for that next opportunity. It's reaching for that next set of goals and challenges, and leaving the past. As much as you may have enjoyed it, as much as you may have enjoyed your time doing some of those things, being able to leave that behind and move forward to the next thing. And that's what I'm really trying to do, and keeping that in perspective, you are reaching for that next thing, Josh. You've got to keep going. And then just having it go back in, and having, it also helped the people, looked at me as like, you look so happy. You look so stress-free. And I'm like, yeah, I'm very stress-free right now. As far as my work life goes in comparison to what it was. But, knowing that, making that move and going into the unknown and doing the scary things, knowing how well they can pay off, and being reminded of how much it can pay off, it kind of reinvigorated me a little bit. And I wish it would have been in the middle of October, but it's a nice little boost to go into the next month, into November and December. So if you're looking for motivation, stop. And then just open your eyes. Just open your eyes and think about why you're doing it, and look for the signs outwardly. It's not internally. You got to find it outside of you if you're struggling to do it. And that's really the point there. So that's what I learned this week. Motivation, yes, it is inside you, but don't look for it, because you won't find it. A losing record is okay if you are still playing the game. So, we have been auditioning now for, a month and a half now for various things, putting our name out there. Did a few Fiverr gigs. I actually updated the Fiverr gig that I had on Saturday, and we've had a lot of rejection. We really have, but it's been a positive thing. It goes all the way back to when I first auditioned for Voice Bunny. They came back and said, we can't accept it, and it's because I didn't use the pop screen that I had laying on the floor next to me. So that was a rejection, but it was positive. Well, we've put in, I think through ACX now, 14 auditions. There are 7 of them that are pending a response, I do believe, at this point. I auditioned for 2 more on Saturday, and I got an offer on Saturday within a half hour. I accepted that offer, and I now have signed on to do a 30,000 word audiobook. Challenge accepted. Goal achieved. So we got our first gig. We've got our first gig, and that was after numerous tries. And last week we talked about being patient and it being a good thing. We were patient. We auditioned. We kept moving forward, and we got that first gig. Now here's the other thing. This offer that I got isn't the offer that I was talking about 2 weeks ago. I'm still waiting for that offer to come through. And then I also got a message on Friday from someone for a book that I didn't audition for. So we're starting to see our efforts pay off, really pay off. So we're going to lose. We're going to lose a lot. But we have to keep playing the game. Think about your favorite sports. I don't know, your favorite sports team. I say that like I don't know anything about sports. I know a little bit about sports, but think about your favorite lovable loser who lost almost every game they played, but they're still playing the game. I'm from Central Ohio, so the Cleveland Browns are what come to mind with that. I'm not a Browns fan, but think about how long they've been in the game. They've had some wins, they've had some ups, but especially recently, they've had way more downs than they have up. But guess what? They're still playing the game. It's okay if you're still playing the game. You're still there. You're still competing, or at least trying to, unless you're the Browns. But that's really it. Not getting discouraged by the fact that we're not seeing a lot of success, and that's okay. Because I consider the fact that we're still trying a success. Because if we go to the apparel, the t-shirts, we're not really trying. So I don't consider that a success. That's a failure. That's a failure on my part. And if we were still going week to week talking about, I got to do something with voiceover. Remember 2 months ago, that's what it was. I want to be a voiceover artist, but I'm not doing anything about it. Now we're actually auditioning. Now we're actually putting the work in, and that is paying off. So play the game. That's the point here. Play the game. If you don't play the game, you'll never know. And you've got to lose sometimes, right? You can't win everything. Even Tom Brady doesn't win everything. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I know where I was going with that. You got to lose, because if you don't lose, if you don't feel the bitterness of failure or defeat, you'll never know what success really feels like. Because if it's all the same, then it's boring. If you succeed every time that you do something, there's no reason for you to get better. There's no feeling of accomplishment. You're just doing, and you're just maintaining. That's really it. So, yes, we got our first audiobook gig. It was Saturday. I am currently working on getting the first part of that recorded. Now with ACX, you actually, when you get the offer, you accept it, and you have to deliver them the first 15 minutes within like a 3-day period, which I'm in the middle of now. The author, or the rights holder, as they call it, listens to that, approves it or denies it, and gives you notes like, hey, let's do this. Once they approve that, then you move on with the rest of the book, and you have 10 days. It's like a 10-day period from then to finish it. And at that point, you upload it chapter by chapter, and they approve, or they send back notes like, hey, can we do this? Can we change that? And it's really a back and forth. And then what they do after that point is they review it, and they have so many days to approve it. And then once it's approved, depending on, how you agreed to be paid, then that part begins. This gig is going to be, I'm going to be paid out per finished hour. So it's not a royalty share thing, which I'm not opposed to. But if you aren't selling a lot of your audiobook, I'm not going to make a lot of money off of it. So I think if I'm going to accept one offer over the other, I want the guaranteed money. Because I can count on that as long as I do my part. Although if I can find one that's got a pretty good following on Amazon, on Audible, or on Amazon, I'll take the royalty share. I mean, you gotta really weigh the options. But yes, we have our first one. Still waiting on 2 other ones, and then Fiverr is still a waste. So I put up my new gig on Saturday. I really just took the old one down, revamped it a little bit, and put a new one up. I did put one of my new demo videos up with that one, just so it was a little bit more professional. I actually completed a second one on Saturday that I can use. But I did, within, 3-4 hours of putting that up, I did get a few messages None of them legitimate. So Fiverr, I don't want to speak bad about the platform because it's a great concept. I'm trying to participate in that gig economy because that's really what a freelancer is. You're going gig to gig to gig unless, you're really business minded, which I'm not necessarily business minded where I've got, constant clients. Um but it's ridiculous. Like there's clear rules about how to submit or how to purchase a gig from someone or how to ask for something, how to ask, for something custom. There are specific rules there, and I set up my gig to say, hey, I will read this much for this much money. If you want this, it costs this. If it's going to be extra words, it's going to cost you this. I mean, it's pretty clear. So I don't know if there's something more that they need to do to combat that, or if there really is anything, because that could be the thing. They could have all the best intentions in the world. There's just nothing that they can do about it. And I don't fault them for that. I'm sure they do their best. And it's easy for me from my position to be like, you need to do more. But maybe they're doing everything they can, and it's just not enough. So I'm still going to be fighting that. It doesn't mean I'm just going to stop Fiverr altogether. I think it's still a good resource to have out there, and keep my fingers crossed. Upwork could be my next focus. I may back away from Fiverr. I'm not going to quit it all the way, but go and use Upwork. Now, Upwork is kind of a pay-to-play kind of thing. It's more professional, but I did get an invitation to interview for a job on there. I did submit a little bit of work for them to review. Still waiting to hear back on that one, but there's a lot more opportunity, and I can search through those and seek out the opportunities that I think might be best suited for me. So I'm going to start making that transition here really soon. But that's enough about the voiceover, because we really need to talk about our efforts overall here in the month of October. But first, brought to you by I'm so rude. I just drink it whenever I want. Like I am breaking the rules of being on camera, and I don't care. I'm just gonna drink my coffee. I don't think you guys care either, really. Do you? Nah, whatever. I'm not gonna break that habit. Just not gonna do it. But looking at the outline, I want to talk about October, because October is almost over, and when it comes to the blog and it comes to, actively trying to build a base, and we took a very hands-off approach. We kind of said, okay, you know what? You just stay right there. I'm going to focus on what I think needs to be focused on, which for this month happens to have been voiceover. Everything else was kind of out of sight, out of mind for me. I didn't focus on numbers. I really didn't focus on the content for the blog. The one goal for October where I wanted to launch the idea where I kind of walk you through some of the technical tasks that I do. I'm not going to launch that this month because those kind of things did take a back seat. And you might have noticed this week I didn't even put up a new Workout Wednesday, and we'll talk about that here in a minute. But really, voiceover was my focus this month. And I made that decision very early after we had talked about what I wanted to do this month. It doesn't mean I didn't think about the other things. It doesn't mean that I didn't check the blog stats this month. But I didn't. I told myself, don't care about those things. Quit worrying about how many people are viewing it or how much you're posting on social media. Let's work on the thing that you actually want to do, and that's voiceover work. So I spent a lot of time really focused on that, really auditioning for a lot of different a lot of different gigs, and focusing on my demo material. That part of it was good, but everything else definitely fell off. So it was good from my perspective, because I've said it a million times on here. The whole reason that any of this exists is because I want to become a voiceover artist or a voiceover actor. That's the only reason any of this other stuff exists. And if I'm not doing that, then what's the purpose? What's the point of creating the content? What is the point of doing this every Sunday to tell you that, yeah, I want to be a voiceover artist? Oh, no, I didn't audition for anything. I bought a red microphone because I thought it would be cool. I can't do that. So it's paid off though. And I think that November I'll probably still have the same kind of focus because I really need to build some actual experience rather than just reading a few scripts in my attic. But we're also going to start to shift back into the numbers need to matter a little bit. Because while our perspective is getting better on, what's important, we're not going to have any kind of following to help us grow and increase our circle of influence. It's just not going to happen. So November, I've got a lot to think about. It may not be a total shift back in November. It may not be a total shift back in December. But that thought process has got to come from there and come back and probably maybe towards the middle. Right there in the middle. Wait, is that there? It's so weird. It's not a mirror image there. I think that's the middle. I'll count that as the middle. So we'll talk more about that one when the month of November comes up. And, I've got some time off in November. I always take my birthday week off, which is usually the week of Thanksgiving. Spoiler, that's why it's my time of year. So I'll have that week off, and then I've got a couple days off in December as well, where I can really put some things together. But I've really started to get some thoughts through and on paper about the blog itself, how I want to restructure it, and build it more into a portal to showcase what I'm doing rather than just a blog feed. And that's something we've talked about. And even though that I haven't focused on the numbers, I have thought about those things. And it's all part of the reason why I'm getting the demo videos together. It's part of the reason why I'm auditioning so much, so I can have a list of credits that I can tout, that I can brag about. But there'll be more about that later. But overall, October's been good for perspective and good for, just kind of cleansing the palate. But it's been awful for numbers. It's been awful for numbers. So, more on that as we start to shift back into, okay, time to market again. All right, real quick before we go, because this has been a lot longer than I thought it was going to be. I didn't think I was going to have that much to talk about this week, really, because all I did was audition for voiceover work. Content updates. So, first and foremost, I have prided myself on the consistency of being able to deliver the content when I'm saying I'm going to deliver it. And this week, I failed miserably. I'm ashamed of myself. Not so ashamed that I'm, going to publicly, I am kind of apologizing to you, but Wednesday, I didn't release the 6th installment of Workout Wednesday. And I made that decision consciously. I don't need to record it. It's ready. In fact, I did upload it on Saturday. So yesterday, I did upload it. And it's ready to be posted. I will be posting that on next Wednesday, but I'll also be taking a break for 2 or 3 weeks from any kind of production there, just so I can focus more on getting back on track with the marketing and focusing a lot on the voiceover auditions. I've got one gig now. Doesn't mean that I'm gonna have like 17 gigs next week, but we've got one. There's got to be a second one if we keep this up and we keep getting better. So I want to make sure that I don't overextend myself, because if I do, then that's when I'm really going to get burnt out and this all falls apart, among other things that could tear it all down. That is one thing that for me as an individual will absolutely ruin any effort that I've already put in. So I will be resuming that in November, at least production. But I'm going to keep them up. I mean, they're still valuable to you. The people of voices.com, again, I want to thank them for giving us permission to use those for our own personal gain. But you can go to voices.com. They have a blog and they have a whole list of great sample copy and sample scripts for a ton of different scenarios. And if you're like me and you want to get into voiceover, I urge you to go check it out. It's great to practice reading it. It's great to practice following direction too, because that's something that I need to get better at, is following directions and notes. So look for that in the future. Not too far in the future. I mean, we'll be back here in a few weeks. Best of segments that I've talked about. I'm going to get those uploaded here this week and start launching, or I say launching them like they're their own new piece of content. Start posting those to the blog here over the next few months, and at least keep the content up. And while I'm taking a break from this content or that content, we can still keep those going. And then Grimm's Fairy Tales. So I told you I found them, and I've read a few. I'm really just looking for things to expand my repertoire for demo material. But I really think because Grimm's Fairy Tales is part of the public domain, we can use those without any kind of permission from anyone, because nobody holds copyrights. They are free to use and free to put out there. So I thought it would be fun to read some of those and to release some of those for you. I've already completed reading The Adventures of Chanticleer and Partlet. So Chanticleer and Partlet, if you don't know, it's a rooster and a hen, husband and wife, and they have a short adventure. And not to spoil anything, but people die. People die. Or I should say animals die, because all the human characters are actually represented by woodland creatures. And then one of the classic fairy tales of all time, not Little Red Riding Hood, which I will actually be doing that one, but the next one I've got in store that I'm preparing for is Hansel and Gretel. Yes, Hansel and Gretel. So I knew the story of Hansel and Gretel, where they're walking through the woods and they leave the breadcrumbs, and the birds eat the breadcrumbs, and they go to the witch's house, which is made of candy. And yeah, I know that version of the story. Well, I read the Brothers Grimm, their version of the story, and I gotta say, I like their version much better. It's dark from the start, and yeah. So I'm going to be releasing some of those here coming up very soon for your listening enjoyment. And as I go through those, I'm going to pick out some here and there. There's some really famous fairy tales that get their origin from Brothers Grimm. I mentioned Little Red Riding Hood. That's one of them. Though that will probably be the next one that I put together for you after Hansel and Gretel. So look out for that. So we're taking a break from some things, but we're also putting together some other things that really actually serve more than one purpose, which is really kind of what I've tried to do with everything, like even the Vlog Sunday thing. Yeah, I'm here to talk about, what I've experienced throughout the week, but it's also new content for the blog. It also helps me practice, vocalizing ideas, and then also, improvising things that need to be said. Workout Wednesday. I mean, here's me showing you some resources. Here's me actually practicing those and talking about how I feel about that practice, or giving myself notes and direction right then and there as I'm reading a script, sometimes for the very first time. So still the same thing, but this one's a little fun, and I don't know. Who doesn't like fairy tales? I like fairy tales. I like dark fairy tales. If you know me, you shouldn't be surprised. All right, that's all I got for this week. As always, please be sure that you're following us on social media. Do I want to try to name them all off? No, I do not, because that is such a daunting task. Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Pinterest, Mix. I feel like I'm missing one, but I don't know. You'll see them on the screen. But yeah, that's it. Workout Wednesday. Episode 6 does come out on Wednesday. Then we'll be taking a break, but look out for Grimm's Fairy Tales and Best of segments very, very soon. With that, I'm Josh. This has been Vlog Sunday here on From the Attic. Go check out my newest audiobook when it gets released. More to come. I'll see you later.